Hi there, my name is Loren. I use she, her pronouns, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my 5 top tips to move abroad as an international student. So, my first tip is to pack smart. And if you're like me and you don't want to spend too much money on extra luggage, I would recommend you to only bring the essential toiletries or very specific brands that you use back home, because basically everything else you can easily find here and there's a very wide selection of products. However, you do want to make sure that you bring at least a few waterproof items because over here it rains basically every day. So having a few of those items with you from back home would be really, really useful. And if you don't have them or you later realize that they're not good enough or that you need something different, there's always a lot of charity shops you can go to or apps online where you can get secondhand items to get proper outerwear for the rain. My second tip for you is to get the administrative tasks out of the way as soon as possible. So as an international student, we need to do a bunch of things when we arrive in York. Some of them include getting our VRP, registering the VRP at the university, signing up for a GP, getting a SIM card or maybe a transport card, and also just submitting forms and paperwork to the department. I would say this was one of the biggest hassles for me when I first moved here, and getting it out of the way and moving on was one of the best things that I could do, because then I could just stop worrying about it and go straight into the more fun things about York. My third tip for international students is to check out the available services for international students even before you move to York. In my experience, this was incredibly helpful because obviously I had a bunch of questions related to my visa and other general concerns about moving to York. And the international team at York are greatly prepared to give you advice and support with any questions or concerns you might have. And then once you arrive here, I would really encourage you to check out all of the other offices and services that are offered at the university. So there's language courses, math courses, writing courses. There's also a bunch of events happening around campus and in the university to promote connections and really try to include international students in just the general life on campus. And to do that, most of the time you will receive emails, but if not, I would also recommend you to sign up for the newsletters. So there's newsletters for colleges, for the student union, for societies, and I would highly recommend for you to get involved in there. My fourth tip is to be prepared to get out of your comfort zone. So of course it will depend where you come from in the world, but coming to York will most likely be a very unique experience in many sorts of ways. Maybe it'll be the weather that you're not used to, like it's in my case, I'm not used to rainy weather, so coming here was a bit of a shock. But then there's also going to be a bunch of experiences that might be new to you, such as the food or the educational system or the transport system or the people that you will be interacting with in your class. So at some point that can be, uncomfortable or different or challenging. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think in my experience, those moments that have proven challenging here in York have also been filled with new experiences that have been beneficial in many ways, not just academically, but also in your personal life. So if in your first weeks you're not feeling completely comfortable or completely adapted or used to your environment, that's totally normal. But at the same time, it's also good to know that the university has a lot of services that we can use as international students to take care of our mental health and well-being in case you might need any extra support. So my final tip for you as an international student is perhaps an obvious one, but it's one that I actually have to remind myself of every now and then, and that is to take care of yourselves. I know being an international student can be difficult and challenging in so many ways, not just because maybe we're trying to learn in a language that is not our own, maybe we're feeling homesick and missing friends and family back at home. And at the same time, there's just a lot going on campus and a lot of opportunities to get involved. And I know that can be sometimes overwhelming. So I have to be really intentional about scheduling down and resting time and just having time throughout my week to connect with people back home and to connect with myself. I think that's something that has been really valuable for me in the last couple of weeks that I've been here at York. And hopefully that's something that might be useful for you too. So with that, I wrap up my 5 top tips for international students living in York.